Let us start a salt analysis. In the salt analysis, we will discuss borax bead test. Borax bead test. Now we will take iron salt. Iron salt we will take for borax bead test. Iron salt is taken for borax bead test in oxidizing flame. In oxidizing flame, this iron salt existing in the form of a ferric metaborate. Ferric metaborate. In the reducing flame, iron salt exists in the form of a ferrous metaborate. Ferrous metaborate. But copper salt, we have seen that copper salt we considered in the oxidizing flame, copper salt existing in the form of cupric metaborate. Cupric metaborate. In reducing flame, it exists in the form of copper. In the form of copper. Cell. So iron salt in the oxidizing flame existing as ferric metaborate, in reducing flame existing as ferrous metaborate. Okay. What is the color it shows? In a hot condition, what color? In cold condition, in what color? Okay. Generally, ferric is yellow or brown. Generally, ferric salts are yellow color or brown color. Generally, ferric salts are yellow color or brown color. Okay. Now, this ferric metaborate is yellowish brown in hot. Yellowish brown in hot. Yellowish brown in hot. In cold, it is pale yellow. In cold, it is pale yellow. Sorry. This iron salt in reducing flame gives a ferrous metaborate. Ferrous metaborate in hot condition and cold condition. In hot condition and cold condition, how it behaves in the sense green. Ferrous salts are green in color. Ferrous salts are green in color. Ferrous salts are green in color. Okay, it is green in hot and cold. Now remember that ferrous salts are green in color. Ferric salts, some ferric salts are yellow, some ferric salts are brown. Now here ferric metaborate is existing in the oxidizing flame. It is showing a yellowish brown in hot condition and a pale yellow in cold condition. In the reducing flame, iron salt is giving ferrous metaborate. It is having a green color in hot condition as well as in cold condition. Sorry. Next salt we will take. Next we are taking nickel salt. We are taking nickel salt. Okay. This nickel salt in the oxidizing flame. In the oxidizing flame, it will give nickel metaborate. Nickel metaborate. For nickel, +2 oxidation number is having higher stability. So nickel salts generally +2 in oxidation state. So nickel is having +2 oxidation state. Okay. In the reducing flame, the nickel salt, in reducing flame, nickel salt is existing in the form of nickel metal. In reducing flame, nickel salt is existing in the form of nickel metal. Now it is showing in hot condition. It shows brown color. It shows brown color in hot condition. In cold condition, it is showing a pale brown. It is showing a pale brown in cold condition. So in hot condition brown, in cold condition pale brown. Now in the reducing flame, metallic nickel is possible in hot and cold. In hot and cold gray. In hot and cold gray color. In a hot and cold gray color. In reducing flame, metallic nickel is possible. It is showing gray color in hot and cold. So nickel salt we are taking. Nickel salt is giving nickel metaborate in oxidizing flame. This nickel metaborate showing brown color in hot condition and pale brown color in cold condition. Now this nickel salt is existing as nickel in reducing flame. It is giving gray color in hot and cold condition. Next we will take cobalt salt. We are taking a cobalt salt. Cobalt salt we are taking. This is in oxidizing flame. It will give cobalt 2 metaborate. Cobalt 2 metaborate. Cobalt salts +2 is stable in simple salts. Cobalt will show +2 in simple salts. Cobalt salts, if you take cobalt plus 2 is stable in simple salts. In simple salts. Cobalt is plus 3 is stable in complex salts. Complex salts. So cobalt, if you take simple salts, in simple salts plus 2 is having higher stability. In complex salts plus 3 is having higher stability. Iron. Iron plus 2 is more stable in complex salts. Complex salts. Plus 3 is having higher stability in simple salts. In simple salts. So cobalt, if you take plus 2 is having higher stability in simple salts. Iron, if you take plus 3 is having higher stability in simple salts. So for complex plus 3 is stable for cobalt. For complex plus 2 is stable for iron. Sir. Now for cobalt simple salts plus 2 is having more stability. Sir. Now in reducing flame it is existing in the form of cobalt 2 metaborate. So oxidizing flame, in the oxidizing flame cobalt exists in the form of cobalt 2 metaborate. In reducing flame also it exists in the form of cobalt 2 metaborate. So in oxidizing flame and in reducing flame cobalt salt exists in same manner. In oxidizing flame and in reducing flame cobalt salt existing in the form of same manner. In reducing flame cobalt salt exists as cobalt 2 metaborate. In oxidizing flame cobalt salt exists in the form of cobalt metaborate. But other salts are showing difference. Here in the reducing flame nickel, here nickel metaborate. Here ferrous metaborate reducing flame, ferric metaborate in oxidizing flame. In the reducing flame copper, in the oxidizing flame copper 2 metaborate. But cobalt how it shows in the oxidizing flame and in reducing flame same manner it is existing. Here cobalt 2 metaborate, here also cobalt 2 metaborate. Like this it is existing. Next, it is showing what color? What color in a hot and cold condition? In both hot and cold, it is showing same color, that is a deep blue. It shows a deep blue color. Now, cobalt salt shows a blue color. Anhydrous cobalt salt is blue. Hydrated cobalt salt is pink. Anhydrous cobalt salt is blue. Hydrated cobalt salt is pink. So it is hot and cold in the sense anhydrous will be there. Therefore, deep blue it is existing. Cobalt metaborate in hot as well as in cold. Only deep blue is there. No pink color. No pink color. Only deep blue. Sir. Now, which salts are existing in a reducing flame as metallic form? One is copper salt. Copper salt in reducing flame exists as copper metal. Nickel salt in reducing flame exists as metallic nickel. This cobalt salt and iron salt existing in the form of a compound. Here cobalt 2 metaborate, here iron 2 metaborate. Here iron 2 metaborate, here cobalt 2 metaborate. Sir. Here if you see oxidizing flame, copper 2 metaborate, nickel 2 metaborate, cobalt 2 metaborate, but iron only iron 3 metaborate. Here only iron plus 3. Here copper plus 2. Here nickel plus 2. Here cobalt plus 2. Sorry, okay. Now in this way borax bead test colored salts showing exhibiting. So colored salts behave in this way in the borax bead test. In the borax bead test. Sir, okay. Next we will take microcosmic salt test. Microcosmic salt bead test. Microcosmic salt bead test will take. It is also called a phosphate test. It is also called a phosphate test. Phosphate bead test. Okay. Now we will consider microcosmic salt. Microcosmic salt formula is sodium, ammonium, hydrogen, phosphate, tetrahydrate. It is called a microcosmic salt. Microcosmic salt formula. Microcosmic salt formula: sodium, ammonium, hydrogen, phosphate, tetrahydrate. It is a microcosmic salt it is colorless. This test will see this salt is taken in the platinum loop and it is introduced into oxidizing flame. This salt is melting and gives NaPO3. NaPO3. This NaPO3 is in a liquid form which is solidifying. After solidifying, it is appearing as a glassy appearance and it is colorless. It is colorless. Okay. So we are taking microcosmic salt bead test. Microcosmic salt, let us take. Microcosmic salt chemical formula is sodium, ammonium, hydrogen, phosphate, tetrahydrate. This microcosmic salt is taken in the platinum loop. Then the platinum loop is introduced into oxidizing flame. This solid is melting. After melting, solidifying into a solid. The solid is having NaPO3. The solid is having NaPO3. This NaPO3 is having glassy appearance. It is colorless. Now this NaPO3 is allowed to touch the given salt. Suppose the given salt is copper sulfate. Suppose the given salt is copper sulfate. Now this copper sulfate salt clings into this NaPO3 and it is introduced into oxidizing flame. Now copper salt is undergoing decomposition to give CuO and SO3. SO3 escapes away. CuO is solid. This CuO with NaPO3 gives this Na we will write, this Cu we will write, this P we will write. Here oxygen 3, here 1, totally 4. NaCuPO4. It is a blue bead. It is a blue bead. This is only blue bead. Okay. Now they were asking that microcosmic salt, is it under one group of salt? You are asking. It is one type of salt, that's all. How we are saying copper sulfate is one salt, zinc sulfate is one salt. Like this, microcosmic salt is one salt, that's all. There is no much difference from others. Okay. Here also anion is there, cation is there, that's all. Okay. Now this test is called a microcosmic salt bead test. So in this microcosmic salt bead test, we are taking microcosmic salt. It is introduced into oxidizing flame. It is melting, then solidifying, and solidifying as a solid, that is NaPO3. This NaPO3 is colorless and glassy appearance. Then this NaPO3 is allowed to touch the given salt. The given salt clings into NaPO3. Then the given salt is introduced into oxidizing flame. It undergoes a decomposition to give so and so. This gas is escaping away. Now this CuO combines with this NaPO3 to give a bead. This bead is having blue color. So copper sulfate salt, gives blue bead in microcosmic salt bead test. So copper salts give blue bead in microcosmic salt test. Okay, this is about a microcosmic salt test. Okay, so for we discussed a preliminary test for salts. Preliminary test for salts. Preliminary test in the sense it is giving just an idea. The given salt may contain so and so cation or may contain so and so anion. Like this idea will be given by preliminary test. Sir, in the preliminary test, what are the points we discussed? First one is color, next one is smell, next you said solubility, next dry heating test, next charcoal cavity test, next cobalt nitrate test, next after cobalt nitrate test we discussed borax bead test, then flame test, then microcosmic salt test. These are the points, these are the topics we discussed under preliminary test. Okay, so preliminary test is over. Next we will go for a anionic analysis. From preliminary test, what are the idea we got? The given salt may contain what anion and what cation. That idea we may get from preliminary test. Okay. So in preliminary test, we got some idea what is the anion and what is the cation present in the given salt. Okay. Now we will go for a anionic analysis. We are going for anionic analysis. Anionic analysis. Then later we will go for cationic analysis. Sorry, anionic analysis we have taken. In this anionic analysis, one test is called a dilute acid test. Dilute acid test. Another test is called a concentrated acid test. Concentrated acid test. Here acid in the sense we can use sulfuric acid. We can use sulfuric acid. So in the anionic analysis, two tests are there. One is dilute acid test. Another one is concentrated acid test. Dilute acid in the sense we are using dilute sulfuric acid. Concentrated acid in the sense we are using concentrated sulfuric acid. Now, how to do this? First, we have to do dilute acid test. We have to do. Then only we have to go for concentrated acid test. In this systematic manner only we have to do it. In a reverse way, we should not do. First, we will do dilute sulfuric acid test. Then we will see whether we have to go for concentrated sulfuric acid test or not. First, we are going for a dilute sulfuric acid test. Here, we are taking a given salt. To this, we will add dilute acid. Then it is observed. Is there any change? Is there any gaseous evolution? Is there any gaseous evolution that we are seeing? If gas is evolved, what is the color of the gas and what is the odor of the gas? That we have to observe it. So in this dilute sulfuric acid test, you are taking a given salt. To that you are adding dilute sulfuric acid and you are observing what gas is liberated. If gas is liberated, is gas is having any color or not? Then is gas possess any odor? These 2 points we have to observe it. If there is no gas evolution, then warm the contents. And observe it. Is there any gas evolution? If it is evolved, what is the color and what is the odor? We have to observe it. So dilute sulfuric acid test, how to do? You are taking a salt, you are adding dilute sulfuric acid and you are observing any gaseous evolution possible or not. If gaseous evolution is there, then what is the color of the gas and what is the odor of the gas? We have to observe it. If there is no gaseous evolution, then warm the contents and see and observe it. Whether any gaseous evolution is there or not, you see it. If gas is evolved, what is the color? And what is the odor? That we have to observe. Now we will consider that gaseous evolution possible. Gaseous evolution possible. Gaseous evolution possible we are considering. Okay. We considered gaseous evolution is possible. We considered, okay, one possibility. Now gaseous evolution is possible, we said. Now we have to observe color and color we have to observe it. Okay. One possibility is colorless. Another possibility what means color is having. What color is possible in the sense reddish brown. Okay. So in dilute sulfuric acid test, we are considering gaseous evolution. Gas is evolved. Next we have to observe color. One possibility colorless, another possibility is color. Color is possible in the sense only one possible, that is reddish brown. That's all. No other color is possible. No other color is possible in dilute sulfuric acid test. Okay. So one possibility color, one possibility colorless, another possibility is reddish brown gas. Next possibility we will see. Next possibility is odor. One possibility is odorless. Another possibility having odor. Another possibility having odor. For this, only one possibility odor. Odor is there. Sir. Next, we will see this gas. If it is behaving like this, how this gas is evolved from the solution, in the sense it is evolved as a brisk effervescence. Brisk effervescence. Brisk effervescence. Brisk effervescence means gas is evolved with a lot of bubbles. Lot of bubbles with a sound. Gas is evolving like a bubbles. Evolving like a bubbles. Bubbles we can see with a sound. Brisk effervescence. Sorry. Brisk effervescence is coming. So if the gas is colorless and odorless and brisk effervescence, if it is so, this gas turns lime water milky. This gas turns lime water milky. Then what do you think about this gas? What is the name of this gas? Do you say? Now the gas is colorless, odorless and brisk effervescence. This gas is turning lime water milky. Now you are saying what is the name of gas? Okay, you are saying that gas is carbon dioxide. So the given salt is containing carbonate. Carbonate on decomposition gives carbon dioxide. Sir. Next possibility, we will go for next possibility. Next possibility is what? Colorless and pungent smell. Colorless and pungent smell. Okay. So in this pungent smell, in the sense possibility is suffocating odor. Pungent smell is possibility is suffocating odor. Another possibility is rotten egg smell. Another possibility is rotten egg smell. Okay. So colorless and pungent smell, in the two possibilities are there. One is suffocating odor, another one is rotten egg smell. These two are possibilities. Okay. This suffocating odor, this turns acidified dichromate. It turns acidified dichromate into green. It turns acidified dichromate into green. It is turning acidified dichromate into green. Sir. This is turning a lead acetate. It is turning lead acetate into black. It is turning lead acetate into black. It is into black. Lead acetate into black. Now see that gas is colorless. Gas is having pungent odor. In the two possibilities, one is suffocating odor, another one is rotten egg smell. This gas turns orange color of acidified dichromate into green color of Cr3+. This gas, rotten egg smell, this gas turning lead acetate, colorless lead acetate into black. Colorless lead acetate into black. Now say, what is this gas and what is this gas? A possibility, A gas, gas A, name is, okay, you are saying gas A is called sulfur dioxide gas. Okay, gas A is called sulfur dioxide gas, you are saying. Now that means the given salt contains sulfite is an anion. Sulfite is an anion. What do you say about gas B? Sir, you are saying gas B is a hydrogen sulfide. Therefore, the given salt contains sulfide anion. The given salt contains sulfide is an anion. Okay. The given salt contains sulfide is an anion. Okay. Next possibility, reddish brown. Next possibility is what? Reddish brown. It is having pungent smell. So reddish brown, in the sense what possibility do you feel? Reddish brown and the pungent smell. Okay. So reddish brown and pungent smell, in the sense here what is the possibility? That point we have to see. Okay. You are saying that NO2. You are saying NO2. You are saying that ferrous. One student says ferrous. Sir. Ferrous is a cation. Ferrous is present in iron in the form of that, due to that only rust formation is possible. Then how ferrous can be gas? How do we think that ferrous is a gas? One student says ferrous. Is it possible? You think it? Ferrous is a Fe2 plus. It is present in either solid form or in aqueous form. It is not volatile. Ferrous is not volatile. Metal salts are not volatile. Sir, metal salts are not volatile in the sense in the very high temperature. In the high temperature, they are volatile. Sir, okay. Now reddish brown gas having pungent smell we are taking. Reddish brown gas having pungent smell. Okay. Reddish brown gas having pungent smell. Okay. Which one that we will see? You are saying that possibility is NO2 gas. NO2 gas possibility you are saying. Another possibility also there, that is bromine, Br2. Bromine also reddish brown. Br2 also reddish brown. That is also pungent. Bromine also a pungent. Okay. So one student says NO2 and Br2. Sorry. So reddish brown gas and pungent smell means one possibility NO2 gas, another possibility Br2 gas. One student said these two possibilities. Okay. Now we will check. We will check which possibility we have to consider, which possibility we should not consider. We have to see, because reddish brown gas and pungent smell means NO2 is having reddish brown, Br2 also reddish brown. Both are pungent, so both gases we have to consider. As per experiment, which one we have to consider, which we should not consider, that we will see. Okay. Now we will take we are taking nitrite salt. We are taking nitrite. Here we are giving dilute sulfuric acid solution, therefore H plus acidic medium is given. Now it is converting into HNO2. HNO2 is called nitrous acid. HNO2 is called nitrous acid. Now regarding nitrogen, we'll see. Regarding nitrogen, atomic number 7, electronic configuration is helium 2s2 2p3. 2s2 2p3. So 2s is having 2 electrons in the 2 electrons, 2p is having 3 electrons. 2p is having 3 electrons. Nitrogen shows what are the oxidation numbers, that we'll see. Nitrogen compounds we will take. One is NH3, one is hydrazine N2H4, hydrazine N2H4, one is N2, one is NO, one is N2O3, one is NO2, one is N2O5. Nitrogen compounds we have considered. We have considered nitrogen compounds. In the nitrogen compounds, oxidation state of nitrogen we will discuss. Oxidation state of nitrogen. Here nitrogen oxidation state is -3. N2H4 we can take like this. N2H4 we can take like this. Here nitrogen oxidation number is -2. Nitrogen oxidation number is -2. Here nitrogen is 0. Here nitrogen is +2. Here nitrogen is +3. Nitrogen oxidation number +4. Nitrogen oxidation number +5. So nitrogen shows various oxidation numbers like this. Okay. Nitrogen shows various oxidation numbers like this. You are asking previous page we have shown like this. In this previous page, what do you have a doubt? You are asking previous page we have shown. In this previous page, what you are having doubt? It is reddish brown and pungent smell we have taken. Reddish brown gas and pungent smell we have taken. Okay. Regarding that we are discussing. Reddish brown and pungent smell, regarding that we are discussing. Okay. Sorry. Now nitrogen shows like this variable oxidation states. So least oxidation number shown by nitrogen is -3. Highest oxidation number shown by nitrogen is +5. Now here in this nitrous acid, nitrogen oxidation number is +3. Nitrogen oxidation number is +3. So +3 oxidation number may go for like this oxidation, or may go for like this reduction. +3 oxidation number can be increased as +4 +5 like this, or can be decreased as +2 0 -2 -3 like this. So nitrogen, here nitrogen is having +3 oxidation number. This +3 oxidation number can go for oxidation like this, or can go for reduction like this. Two possibilities are there. Sir, for what possibility nitrous acid goes? Nitrous acid can go for disproportionation. Nitrous acid can go for disproportionation. HNO2 can go for disproportionation. disproportionation. Disproportionation in the sense same substance undergo both oxidation and reduction. So nitrogen is plus 3, it is undergoing oxidation into nitric acid. Here nitrogen is having plus 5 oxidation state. It is oxidation. Then nitrogen plus 3 is converting into nitric oxide. Here nitrogen is plus 2. So plus 3 is converting into plus 2 reduction. Plus 3 is converting into plus 5 oxidation. Okay. So nitrous acid is undergoing disproportionation like this. In order to balance this equation, here plus 3 converting into plus 5 means 2 electrons lost. Plus 3 is converting into plus 2 in the sense 1 electron is gained. So make this as 2. Now gained is 2 electrons, loss is 2 electrons. Now make this as 3 because 3 nitrogens. So 3. Now we have to balance the rest we have to balance. Here 3 hydrogens, here 1 nitrogen. So remaining 2 hydrogens as water. Okay. Now it is balanced. So nitrous acid undergoes disproportionation. Okay. Now this NO is called a nitric oxide. This NO is called a nitric oxide which is colorless. This on exposure to air, immediately becoming NO2. Immediately becoming NO2. It is a reddish brown. NO2 is a reddish brown. NO2 is a reddish brown. Okay. This nitric oxide immediately becomes NO2 as soon as it is in contact with O2. When it is coming in contact with O2, immediately it is becoming NO2. Sir. Now here taken salt is nitrite salt. Nitrite salt with dilute acid becomes HNO2. HNO2 stability is low, so it undergoes a disproportionation. So it is giving nitric acid and NO. NO is a gas which is colorless. It is immediately converting into NO2 with oxygen. Immediately converting into O2, immediately converting into NO2. Sir, we got NO2 gas. This NO2 gas is reddish brown, it is pungent. Okay. Now this NO2 gas we got. Now this NO2 gas is passed over potassium iodide solution. Potassium iodide solution, it is colorless. It is colorless. It is now what is the reaction possible? You see NO2 plus I minus gives NO and I2. I2 is brown. I2 is brown. Sir, we discussed one point regarding iodine. Iodine is a iodine can undergo sublimation. Iodine solid can undergo sublimation to give iodine vapors. These iodine vapors are violet. Then how do we say iodine is brown here? Iodine can undergo sublimation, we know. Iodine on sublimation gives iodine vapors. Iodine vapors are deep violet color vapors. Okay, here we will see. Here we have taken NO2. It is I minus. I minus is colorless. Okay, it is I2. It is I minus. Therefore, they are different. So that we can say it is colorless. Okay. Now I minus is colorless. Now we are getting it is converting into I2. I2 is brown. Why do we say different color? It is I2. It is also I2. No. Then why do we say different color? Okay. Now why different colors that we'll see. This I2 with this I minus gives a complex. The complex is I3 minus. Because of that here brown, here violet. Sir, okay. Now what is I3 minus? How I3 minus will be there? Halogens are diatomic molecules only, no? Halogens means F2Cl2 Br2 I2. Why halogens are existing as a diatomic molecules? If we take iodine, iodine comes under group number 7A. So this valency shell is having 7 electrons. So it is in need of 1 electron. Hence it is making a 1 bond. It is making 1 bond. So iodine will exist in diatomic form. Then how I3 minus is possible? How I2 is taking I minus? When it is coming under 7th A group, it is in need of 1 electron. It is coming under 7th A group. So this valence shell is having 7 electrons. So it is in need of 1 electron. So it can form only 1 bond. No? Then how I3 minus is possible? Sir, that we will see. How I3 minus is possible, that point we will see. Now we will take halogens, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. It is coming under second period, it is third period, it is fourth period, it is fifth period. Now its electronic configuration we will see. Its electronic configuration is krypton. Fifth period in the sense 5d10, 5d10, 5d10 we are taking. It is fifth period. Fifth period in the sense we have to take 5d10 not, 4d10 we have to take. 5d10 we should not take. Okay, we are taking a 5, the 4d10 we are taking. Then 5s to 5p5, 5s to 5p5. Now see that it is these halogens. Halogens means ns to np5, ns to np5. It is fifth period, that 5 we are substituting here, so therefore 5s to 5p5. Before that 4d10 we have written. Sorry, electronic configuration of iodine, iodine we have written. Then 5d is 0, 5d is having vacant orbital, 5d is 0. Now iodine molecule will take, iodine molecule, this valence shell is having 7 electrons. Okay, 7 electrons. This valence shell also having 7 electrons. Now bond is there. Now I minus will take, I minus. Iodine is having 7 electrons in the valence shell. Due to negative charge, another electron, 8th electron. Now this iodine is having vacant d orbital, vacant d orbital in its valence shell. Vacant d orbital is there in its valence shell. Okay. Due to vacant orbital, this lone pair is overlapping with this. Lone pair is overlapping with that. So now how the structure will be there, we'll see. How the structure is there, we'll see. So now we can say this single bond, we can say, okay, single bond. Next we will say between these two dative bond is possible. Okay, dative bond. Now this iodine is having 3 lone pairs in its valence shell. Okay, 3 lone pairs are there. 3 lone pairs are there. Okay. Next, this iodine is having negative charge. That negative charge we have written. Okay. Next possibility we'll see. Now 3 iodine atoms we are writing. 3 iodine atoms we have written. Next we will give this bond, we will give. Okay. These 3 lone pairs will give 1, 2 and 3. Then this dative bond we will give as a normal bond. When you write dative bond as normal bond, you have to give formal charges. For this gain of electrons, therefore for this you have to give formal charge -1. For this loss of electron cloud, so you have to give formal charge +1. Already -1 is there, therefore net becomes 0. Now this is called a I3 minus. It is called I3 minus. Okay. Now what is the hybridization of a central atom? What is the hybridization of central atom, that we will see. Hybridization of central atom. This central atom is having 3 lone pairs and 2 bond pairs. So central atom is having 3 lone pairs and 2 bond pairs. Totally 5 electron pairs. So from this 5, 1 we will give to S. S orbital is 1. From this 5, 3 we will give to P, because P orbitals are 3. Remaining is 1, that we will give to D. That we will give to D. So what is hybridization means? sp3d hybridization. Out of 5, 1 is given S, 3 is given to P, 1 is given to D, totally 5. S is 1 orbital, P means 3 orbitals, D is 5 orbitals, but availability 1 only, so 1 we are giving. So the hybridization for this iodine is sp3d hybridization. So this iodine is providing sp3d vacant